Most battle mechs are given a short, typically 3-letter designation, followed by a few numbers or letters to identify the mech's chassis and variant at a glance without needing to write out the whole thing. This of course saves time, effort, and overall makes things convenient. For example, the catapult is abbreviated as the CPLT, the Atlas is the AS7, the Commando is the COM, and the Tarantula is the ZPH. Jerome fucking Blake. It sounds like the people behind this were as prone to heavy drinking while they were designing this as me whenever I think about my childhood. Or my adulthood. The Tarantula is a quadrupedal abomination, an affront to all that is held dear, and proof that if there was a god, it has since destroyed itself out of pure embarrassment for seeing what its own creation has in turn conjured. Now, before we get too far, I must say that this holovid has been brought to you by Bloodgate brand adult diapers. As they say, when it rains, it pours, so be prepared when... What?
Actually, that sponsorship deal has been
What?
retracted.
What do you mean the sponsorship offer was retracted? Oh, they didn't want to be embarrassed by being associated with me?
Again.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Fuck you.
I mean, that makes sense. Well, what about the NFT thing?
NFTs haven't been a thing for over 1,000 years.
Hasn't been a thing for over 1,000 years?
You stupid.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I'm stupid for asking? Yeah, also for other reasons, but yeah. You're gonna cut this, right, Steve? You're gonna cut all that? Right, Steve? Okay.
I'm out of here.
Alright, I trust you, Steve. Anyways, where were we? The Tarantula is a 25-ton quadrupedal battle mech designed by Korean Enterprises, intended primarily for the scout role. It has a very squat profile and strongly resembles its namesake Arachnid, even though it only possesses half the number of legs. A 200 rating extra light engine gives it a top running speed of just under 130 kilometers per hour and a top walking speed of just under 87 kilometers per hour on worlds with standard gravity and ambient heat. 8 jump jets give the Tarantula the ability to leap up to 240 meters or perform directional microjumps. Speed is the Tarantula's primary attribute, which when combined with its jump jets and lateral shift attribute, granted by it being a quadruped, makes it incredibly maneuverable. Due to advances in technology, the Tarantula avoids the maintenance flaws of previous quadrupeds like the Scorpion and Goliath, though the historical stigma against quads remains among techs and commanders alike to this day. The stigma has been so great that the creators of the design, Korean Enterprises, have engaged in a thorough propaganda campaign to dispel the lingering malaise that past quad mechs have thoroughly established in the minds of most engineers and pilots. It hasn't had much success so far, especially now that clan mechs have become more common and easier to acquire in the inner sphere. Most pilots, when given the choice, choose to retire from the profession entirely, becoming dispossessed, as they assume piloting a Tarantula would have the same mortality as the notorious failure that was the Scorpion design. Additionally, the price tag of around 3.5 million C-bills makes it an unpopular choice among most commanders, who will likely choose to spend that money on something more proven, such as a medium-class Hunchback or even a pair of Locusts with modifications, which could easily be purchased for the same amount. The stock model of the Tarantula, the ZPH-1, also known as the ZPH-1A, wields a pair of medium lasers and a highly accurate streak short-range missile launcher. 4.5 tons of standard-grade armor gives the Tarantula modest protection, slightly more than a Locust or Commando. Usually this armor is just enough to give the Tarantula time to escape from dangerous encounters so it can deliver its recon data intact. There's also the ZP... You know what? I'm not calling it that. I am not calling it that. No. There's also the Tarantula 2A, which is no different from the 1A, except it has extended range medium lasers. The change is self-explanatory, and since there's nothing else to talk about here, I am moving on. The Tarantula 3A mixes things up a bit by replacing the lasers with medium pulse lasers, which fire concentrated laser beams in quick succession rather than a solid laser beam, allowing for much more accurate shots. The Streak missile launcher is removed, a mistake in my humble opinion, and replaced with an extra 2 tons of armor. This makes the 3A more durable at the expense of drastically reducing its firepower. The Tarantula 4A, I'd complain about the lack of originality in the naming convention, but, you know. The 4A guts the mech skeleton and replaces it with endosteel, which is lighter, though it takes up more volume. The jump jets and all weapons are gone as well, replaced with a meager extra half-ton of armor. Now with all of that negativity out of the way, they did add a Myomer accelerated signal circuitry system. That's a tongue twister, basically allowing the mech's artificial muscles to move much more quickly for a short time, as well as a particle cannon, basically turning the Tarantula into a quick little sniper mech. In addition, a C3 slave unit was added, which allows for targeting data to be shared with other mechs connected to the same C3 network. Well, that's the final variant of the Tarantula. As usual, there are as many variants of any given battle mech as there are techs in the inner sphere, so don't assume this is all there is. I swear if I get into another argument with someone like that, Steve, I'm gonna lose what's left of my mind. Any competent commander or tech will have their machines adjusted and customized to better suit a given mission or to utilize the limited resources at hand. Anyways, that's about it for the Tarantula. It's an abomination. It's a quad. It's ugly. It looks like a freaking spider, which is weird. So overall, I have to say, I like it. I really like it. I actually really enjoy it. It's an adorable little creepy spider mech. And I think it's one of my favorite battle mechs that has ever been created. I like it a lot. That's all for now. Have a great day. And remember, hell, what were you supposed to remember again? Yeah, whatever.